Instead of trying to change the white man in your mind, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism, like you got in Africa 9, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be education in the program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionless movement. You understand? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more. And before you know it, they'll be capitalists. And before you know it, we have Negro imperialists.
Peace and Black Power family. It's your Harlem educator, author, and activist, the Black Liberation Coach, Brother I.J. Taimba. I just want to take a few moments to welcome you to Harlem Liberation School's YouTube channel. Harlem Liberation School was started in 2016 by myself and my queen. And we basically saw that there was a lack of foundational black political education going on in Harlem. We're not going to get up from under white supremacy without knowing how oppression works, how it affects and impacts in our community, the ways in which we internalize our own oppression and engage in self-defeating behavior and thinking, and our socio-political movements and our very important individuals and organizations throughout our history who played a leading role in fighting against and resisting and disrupting white supremacy. So Harlem Liberation School was founded as a black political education center for adults. Because education is not just relegated to children. Adults need education. It's those of us adults who maybe when we were kids did not get that foundational Africana studies of black political education. The things we need to know to be free and to fight effectively for our liberation. And so that's what we're here to do. We hope that you will come through, check us out, look at our videos, like them, comment on them, and share them. Peace and Black Power. Peace and Black Power families. Brother I.J. Taimba from Harlem Liberation School, where we teach black people and new Africans to wake up, clean up, and stand up in the immortal words of our dear beloved ancestor, Brother Malcolm X. Family, as you may or may not know, Harlem Liberation School is doing a series called Hip Hop 50. There's a lot of noise being made about this being the 50th anniversary, which I don't exactly agree with, but it's okay. We'll go with that for now. And since the whole world is celebrating hip hop's anniversary, we decided that we would try to interview some of our kinfolk around the country. And hopefully we have a few brothers and sisters from other countries that will be part of this series just to give their impressions of why is hip hop important? When did they fall in love with hip hop? What are their critiques of hip hop? Are they disappointed in hip hop? And if so, in what areas or arenas? What are some things, some directions they'd like to see hip hop go? What impact does hip hop have? Because we don't just want rich celebrity music industry people commenting on hip hop, because it wasn't started by that type of people. It was started by the despised and rejected in the South Bronx, which was the capital of gangs in the entire country in the 70s. Violent, heavily miseducated, burnt down buildings, bricks and glass everywhere. It makes sense that such a powerful genre would start with people who are despised and rejected by the whole world. Black people. You know what I'm talking about, family. And it grew and it spread all over the world. But we want to know from regular, ordinary people who are practitioners of the genre, DJs, MCs, producers, graffiti artists, dancers, and people that just listen to hip hop and love it. We want to know your point of view. So that's the purpose of Hip Hop 50. And with that said, I want to bring on our very good brother. This is you might say conscious, I would probably say revolutionary hip hop artist, bringing some powerful grassroots Black nationalist, Pan-Africanist sort of messages to the people through his group MCE. I want you to welcome, brothers and sisters, our good brother Obafemi. to the building. To Harlem. How you doing, good brother?
Peace, peace. What's going on, brother?
Everything's good, man. Family, we have technical difficulties. There's going to be an echo. We have not identified why, so bear with us, okay? Try to bear with us. Before we begin, let me see. I think we have a few comments. Bob Cosmic is showing love to Harlem Liberation School. This is my Queen B in the building. Brenda in the building. And we're glad to see the family out supporting what it is we're trying to do. This is a very important show in Freeze Family. You often don't hear from the grassroots. You always hear from the privileged, you know? And it's important that we open up history and the oral tradition to the folk, as we used to say. The folk are the working class, people that are grinding it out, people that aren't celebrated or rich yet, right? So we have our brother Obafemi. Obafemi, how are you, good brother?
Man, maintaining, brother. I'm glad to be here, man. Glad to be on the platform, brother.
Good to see you, man. I guess we're gonna jump right in. Could you just tell us where you're from? I know where you're from. Tell the people where you're from, and what is your first memory of hip hop?
All right, peace. So, man, let me just start off with my age. I'm 44 years old, man. So, just to put things in perspective, so you know what I got to say. But yeah, I'm born and raised Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Pine Bluff is a city southeast of the capital city of Arkansas is Little Rock. So we like 40 minutes southeast of Little Rock. Predominantly black city. Yeah, my first memory of hip hop, man, was I would say mid 80s. Hip hop did not come on the radio here until about 1986. So prior to that, like, you either had to have some cousins or some family members that was getting cassette tapes or something like this, or records from out on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying, to get it, because otherwise, like, you know, you couldn't hear hip hop on the radio. Like, I had no concept of what that was. So I say about 86, 87 is when I got introduced to it.
Okay. See, I wouldn't have. That's very good history. I wouldn't have known that you didn't have access to it until a particular year. I guess we had the radio station started playing hip hop, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. So maybe some of the brothers and sisters who are a little older than me, like early 50s, may have a different story. But like I said, I'm 44, so my perspective is, like, there wasn't a radio station in Arkansas that I know of that played hip hop until about 86, 87. So, you know, that's like, so I kind of, for being in Arkansas, I kind of grew up with this as it was, you know, kind of taking the national stage and things like that. So, you know, from hearing, you know, Curtis Blow to UTFO, you know, the Fat Boys, LL Cool J, the Fabulous Fab Five Freddy, Slick Rick, you know, so Cool Mo D. These some of the early cats that I you know, heard, man, growing up. So
okay, so you kind of got into it a little bit, but who were your favorite celebrity MCs, the people that everybody knows?
Yeah. So, man, for me, one of the LL Cool J, like LL Cool J stood out to me, man. When I first saw the video for "I'm Bad," like, you know, this powerful brother, he had his shirt off. You know what I'm saying? He jumping around, like, I mean, it was kind of like a battle rap, but just against anybody. You know what I'm saying? So LL had that swagger. Then he came for what we heard was that I Need Love. So it showed us a duality. Like, man, this hardcore dude, and then he made this song right here, man, was like so smooth. Like, he had the total package for me growing up, man. So
yeah, L was bad. L's still bad.
yeah,
Everybody he battled, he beat. He beat my man Kumo D. I was heartbroken when that happened.
Yeah, I rock with Kumo D too, man. But
Yeah,
LA was
man.
like another level for me, man.
Okay, now, who were some of your favorite hometown MCs from where you live?
Oh man, yeah. So this these stories are I would say obscure because nobody's done like the history on hip hop from Arkansas as far as I know. But where I live, there was a producer. His name was DTO. He had a studio, um, and like if you were trying to get into music, like you went to this studio. He played the guitar, he played the keyboard, he did a lot of the production. So he really opened my eyes to a whole lot as far as when I started doing music. Some of the people that I heard before me though, I would say there was a there was a group called a Doja Spot. There was another group. I would say they were like they were like the Pine Bluff, Arkansas version of Wu Tang. It was a group called Metamorphosis. So I got an older brother who's like 4 years older than me. He was a part of this group, Metamorphosis. Um, Let me see who else. There was another group called Southern Cartel that made, I would say, some regional noise. Those are some of the people before me that I heard before I even stepped foot in a booth or a studio or anything like that.
Man, we want to give a shout out to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to the African, the New African, all over in Arkansas and all the states and all the countries, man. Because hip hop is like African people. It's everywhere,
Right.
right? That's a blessing when you think of how where it started and how it spread. Um, why do you think? And for those watching, Brother Obafemi is in a group. He is an actual practitioner of hip hop. He's an MC himself. So he's going to get his perspective is going to be really unique and important because he's speaking from his perspective of a person who produces this content. So I want to know, in your opinion, Brother Obafemi, why is hip hop important? And I know that's a broad question.
Yeah, it is, but I'll say this, man. Hip hop gave a voice to people who, at that time period, were not being heard. Hip hop was the voice of the cast aside, the downtrodden. Hip hop, and I kind of, as a student and studying music, I kind of liken hip hop. Hip hop became what jazz was in the early 1910s, 1920s. Hip hop became that voice. This is the new jazz. Um, Jazz musicians were marginalized. Jazz was said that it was going to be a fad. It wasn't going to last. It was called the devil's music. All kind of stuff. So, and hip hop kind of got that same stigma attached to it. But as far as its importance, I think it's a very strong voice and perception that is being utilized in many different forms and fashions to speak to our experience as Black people. If you want to know about what's going on with Black people in the United States, at one point in time, you could just go to the store and pick random CDs, and you're going to get, man, this is what's going on in LA. Yo, this is what's going on in New York. This was going on in Florida. This was going on in Texas. This was going on in Chicago. Um, it, things are more kind of homogenized now. So it's kind of like, as far as mainstream go, like it's kind of like very pigeonholed to what you're gonna hear on the radio. But hip hop is not just the music. It's a swagger. It's an air about ourselves. It's the fashion. It's the dance. It's the lingo, the slang that go along with it. It's how we walk. It's how we talk. How you wear your clothes. it's so many different things that encompass what hip hop is for me.
Yes, sir. That was a very good breakdown. I'm apologize for the echo, family. I do not know what's causing it. I really don't. Um,
Yeah, I don't even hear it on my end.
you don't hear it? Oh, that's bad. The audience does. Hold on 1 second. Okay. How did you first get involved in hip hop? Now I think you already answered who some of your earliest influences were, but definitely, how did you get involved with hip hop, my brother?
Um, I would say my first experience. Um, I was maybe 8 or 9. One of my older brothers or cousin. This is like mid to late '80s. We had talked about making up us a little rap group. You know, I was pretty shy, still kind of shy, man. But I was pretty shy, so I didn't want to say nothing. I was more so on the beat side, so I wanted to do the beatbox. Like I was looking up to Jam Master Jay, with the scratching and all of that. So I was like, yo, I'll deal with the beatbox and that type of stuff. And they was gonna be the MCs. Fast forward, I went to the military. I went to the army, and after I graduated high school, and so that's when I started writing rhymes, man. Um, I did a few years in the military and came home like 2000, and I picked up the pen again. I started writing again. I got a younger brother, and we didn't have access to no beat machines and nothing like this. So we were looking at the computers. How can we make beats of stuff on a computer? This is like 2000, so this is like, man, before Fruity Loops came out. It's a program that people use. Like we were using some very elementary type stuff on the computer, man. Just tinkering around and making beats. So I really started getting into production. Once I learned how to sample and take the records and chop up the samples and all that, like it was over for me. So I've been recording since about 2001. So yeah, I've been recording over 2 decades, man.
Wow. Hey, you done put in some work.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if you could open a show for any artist, who would it be and why?
Man, that's a. Whew, I don't know, man. KRS would be one. Um, yeah, that would be a nice way to bring come out, man. I'd love to open for Dead Friends. A lot of those artists that was doing this type of music, like they influenced me, man. So it's kind of like paying homage. Like I would, X Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers. Like I listened to all that. I listened to Cube though. You know what I'm saying? Nas, like I listened to quite a bit, man. So definitely KRS One, Dead Prez. Yeah, I'd like to open up for them.
And you know what? They may be opening up for MCE one day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. We're gonna put that out there in the universe. Speaking of MCE, man, tell us about your group, brother. For those who don't know, tell us about MCE.
Yo, so MCE, man, we're a musical collective of artists, two MCs and a singer. I'm the M. I used to go by the music name Magnum. Of course, I go by Obafemi now, but yeah, I'm the M. My brother Said Adams is the other MC, and the singer in our group is my brother Esh Malek. So us three make up the group. We've been putting out music since about 2008. 2008, we formed a group. We dropped our first project in 2009 called Knowledge of Self. Yeah, we've been putting out projects, man, since 2009. We just wrapped up another project. We ain't released it yet, but called Food, Clothes, and Shelter. So
Mm,
yeah,
that's what's up.
That's what's up.
Kicking that
Kicking that
nationalism right there.
nationalism right there.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
now I'm
Now I'm
assuming you got
assuming
the
you got the
conscious
conscious
revolutionary
revolutionary
messaging
messaging,
that there's a
there's a
certain
certain
message that
message
you're trying to
that
get
you're
through to
trying
the
to get through
people.
to the
What do
people.
you hope
What do
that
you hope
listeners
that
will take
listeners
away
will
from
take
your
away
music?
from your music?
Um, Man, I would say, man, love yourself. In order to love yourself, you got to know yourself. That's really what I'm pushing, man. Self love through self knowledge. You can't fully appreciate who you are if you don't know who you are. So I'm really trying to come across and bring that some wisdom, man. I'm putting proverbs in the song, however I can weave it in there, man. I'm gonna drop it in there. So yeah, I'm really pushing, man. Black love yourself and love yourself through self knowledge. So
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Now,
Now,
do you
do
think
you
that
think that
music artists have
music
a
artists have a
responsibility
responsibility
to their
to
listeners?
their
And if
listeners? And
so,
if
what is
so,
the
what is the
responsibility that they
responsibility
have?
that they have?
yeah, that's a good question, man. Um, I'll speak for myself. As for me as an artist, I welcome the responsibility to make responsible music, because the purpose of my music, I got a specific purpose with my music. So yeah, I definitely think for me, I have a purpose. As far as artists in general, um, everybody who rapping, man, ain't an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody who rapping ain't an artist, man. My 4 year old can say some words that rhyme. You know what I'm saying? Like we can put a beat on and you can say some words and I can follow what's trendy and make it, get some good production. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that's doing it, and I ain't saying it don't take no skill, but everybody who's making hip hop, man, I wouldn't put them in the classification of artists. Like some cats, it's a hustle. You know what I'm saying? And they found a way to hustle this. And I ain't knocking the hustle. Like you found a way to make some legit money, go for it. But as far as artists, yes, artists have a responsibility to be responsible with their art because and I know the influence of your artwork and what it has on the people, man. So yeah, you got a responsibility. If you consider yourself an artist, you do. If you're just hustling in the game and it's just it's the new dope game for you, then a person who's selling dope don't care about if his clients die or not. You know what I'm saying? He gonna go find some more. So it ain't no real responsibility to them.
I think that's a good segue to the next question. A lot of people, particularly people that are my age, more in the 55s and up, always compare hip hop today to hip hop in the 80s or even in the late 70s. And I was wondering, what do you think are the main differences, if there are any, between hip hop, let's say in the 80s and 90s, and hip hop today?
I think that the newness of hip hop in the 80s and 90s allowed more of the freedom of expression that was able to reach the mainstream. So when you heard hip hop in the like in the 80s, for most of the 80s until about the mid 80s to late 80s, if you heard hip hop, it was coming out of New York. Period. You understand what I'm saying? Like it wasn't. You didn't hear nothing else. You know what I'm saying? If it was on, especially if it was on the radio, like so by the mid 80s to late 80s, you start to hear some other sounds from different regions. So King T, Ice T, NWA. You start to hear from people like that. You start to hear the Two Shorts. Luke down in Florida. We started to hear that sound. The Ghetto Boys came out in the late 80s, early 90s. So hip hop was able to capture, like I said, it was, Easy E said, like, we're reporters. We're reporting what go on in our community. So music sounded a certain way depending on where you was from. And that, I think that's one of the things that I think I miss the most about hip hop today. A lot of the hip hop, mainstream hip hop, sounds so much the same sonically, and the subject matter is so narrow. To me, I get bored with it real quick. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a knock on the youngsters. This is what's been given to them, so they're doing what's presented to them. You understand what I'm saying? So that's not a knock on the new generation that's doing hip hop and nothing like that. I just look at it like there's more corporate control of hip hop, and hip hop is a multi-billion-dollar industry now versus what it was in the 80s and early 90s. So I think that's the biggest difference. Like the way hip hop has been pimped and parceled out all over the world, to lead those founding fathers, like, they ain't really eating like that. You know what I'm saying? And they created this art form. So I think that's the biggest difference for me, man.
I think you made some very good points with respect to that question. Very good. Now, do you think? Okay, so there are people who don't like the messaging of the kind of the rape culture rap, the drug rap, the I'm a bad bee rap, the igga rap, and all, and the violence, and so you wonder, okay, how do we resolve that? Do we, in your opinion, should music with some of these messages be banned? Do we censor it? How do you think we should approach that?
Man, that's a complex question, man. Um, I'm pretty sure you remember back in the day when Luke and Two Live Crew was going through their whole issue, banned in the USA. I remember that song. They had the album cover, had the women on with the bikini and all of that. And they went up against the government, dealing with freedom of speech, and they won. Like, I remember when C. Dolores Tucker came out and Calvin Butts was talking about, this when Death Row was pretty big and stuff like this, and they were talking about the rap music need to be censored. They had the steamroller running over all the CDs and all of that type of stuff, man. And at that time, I was a teenager. I was not trying to hear that stuff, man. I was like, man, they just hate. Like, I'm listening to Pac. Tupac, put in a rap that made her extra famous. Like, he went off on her, but as a
That's
father of 5 at 44 years old, I'm like, wow, man. Like, yo, that was right. You know what I'm saying? That if we say there are no limitations, then anything goes. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no type of protocol, no standard. It's like, if you allow this, then where does it stop? And so we at the point to where, not to say I'm gonna make us famous for calling her name, but you got an artist like Sexy Red. She done came out with lip gloss that's booty hole brown, coochie pink, gonorrhea green or something. Like, this is being marketed and sold to the people now. And of course, people are going to buy this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where do we draw the line? Where do we say enough is enough? If it's okay to say I'm a killer in, shooter in, and that's fine. But as soon as you say do that to another race and you black, you ain't got to worry about no playtime. You ain't got to worry about no airtime, because they is not finna air none of that. You know what I'm saying? Long as it's degenerate when it deals with us, it's fine. But when we step out of the box and start talking about other people or what we gonna do to other groups and stuff like this, there ain't no place. So it's almost to a degree we're already being it's censored. So the more degenerate, the more they're going to allow. What's been censored out is the consciousness. That's what's been filtered out. So yeah, man.
And I'm glad you made that point. I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the responsibility of the hip hop artists that are revolutionary, that are nationalists and Pan Africanists? What's their responsibility?
Um, we cannot be artists by itself. We have to be active. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, people would who got street cred, who do music from the streets, like, you talking gang stuff in the music. Like, you go to a city, the gang cats gonna show up to the concert. You know what I'm saying? So they trying to check you to see if you really about that life. Well, if you making conscious music and revolutionary rap, where is your activism at? So when you show up to the function talking about this black power, where's your body of work at? Where's the work you putting into your community? I think that artists have a responsibility to be actively engaged in their community from a national or citywide or international level. Like, you got to be doing some work too. Part of the work is making the music, but it just can't be music by itself. You got to do something else.
Agreed. Now, who do you think is more crucial to a record being successful, the MC or the producer? Or do you think one is more influential than the other?
Man, I think it kind of depends on who the producer is and who the artist is. Like, excuse me, there are artists, man. You can beat on the table and whatever they spit is gonna be golden. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you got some artists that, without the production, man, a lot of people wouldn't listen to them, man. So, you know, I think cats who make legendary music have a combination of both. They got some substance, their delivery, their persona or personality that goes along with it, as well as beat selection. I think makes a great album, classic albums. That production gotta be there, man. I'm a crate digger, so you know, I like music. Like, I study and listen to a lot of music, man. So production is very crucial, but I'm searching for the message in the music. For me, you gotta be talking about something. I mean, if it's just on the street level, that's fine too. If you know what you're talking about, it's kind of easy to tell if you ain't really been in that life, because you're only going to be able to talk about it from a certain perspective. But yeah, I think that the marrying of the two, dope artistry as far as the lyricist and beat selection, the producer, man, can make or break a song or album.
Okay. Do you think there's a big controversy? Eminem and supposedly Melly Mel have been going at it. Obviously, Melly Mel is nice. Back in the day, he was considered one of the best MCs on the mic. Probably him and Grandmaster Caz and probably Kumo D. But time has moved on. And so sometimes the pioneers' cadence, their flow is a little different than what people today are used to. Some black people say, "Oh, Eminem is right, he's better." And some people say Melly Mel. But I think my question more is, Is hip hop still black? Is it still African? Is it still our cultural product? Or do you think that it has become a white corporate product?
Man, yeah. The yeah, it has become um as far as like the mainstream, it's a corporate product. Um, you have to strip away the layers to get back to the core, to the grassroots to get the the Africanness of it. Um, from the brother who or the sister who may be doing shirts at their house, painting their own shirts at their house, like that's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? To the young girls or boys who may go out in the street on the sidewalk and dance, and they got the phones now, so like that's still hip hop at its essence. Um, the lingo that we speak, um, they call it TikTok lingo, no, but no, this is AAVE. This is our vernacular English. This is how we speak. Depending on where you're from, like that's what we infused into the music. Yeah, so I think that, of course, the corporate side, the billion-dollar industry is we don't own and control that. But at its essence, when you peel back all those layers and you find out those artists, and there's some mainstream artists I think that love the craft and respect the art as well. But they playing the game. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do to get back in control of this art form, man. It ain't an easy task, but the work is plenty, but the workers are few.
Hmm. Say that again, my brother.
Yeah,
That's
man.
something I meditate on very often. That very line. Um, what is the response? Okay, so I know a few brothers and sisters that are part of a movement called Clear the Airwaves, and they banging on the radio stations, they banging on the artists, they banging on the community that we got to raise the bar in terms of the messages we're kicking to the young people, and they're holding all these different components accountable: radio stations, the general public, legislators. You know, what do you think the community's responsibility is
Man,
as relates to hip hop?
I'm glad you brought that up, bro. Yeah, the community has a responsibility, man, to support. I hear people talk about, the music today is trash. They need to, you know, we need better music. Well, the community responsibility is to support artists who making better music, man. Opening up the platforms like you doing, brother. You have to give a voice to those who are making better quality music that's helpful to the people. Like if you say, you hear people say, man, the music is got these young people minds this and this. Okay, well, if the music got their minds gone, then there can be music that can get their minds back. If the music led them away, then the music can lead them back home. So, but the community has a responsibility to support through sharing, through listening. You know what I'm saying? Of course, um, helping to fund some of the artistry shows. Just supporting the same. I wouldn't even say the same way, but supporting artists and networks and institutions that are helping to, um, I would say, clear the airwave. You know what I'm saying? So I think, yeah, the community. We can't sit and complain about the radio station. The radio station has been playing the same stuff, man, for the past couple of decades. This it's not new. Like we know what's going on. The question is, what are we gonna do about it? We just gonna keep complaining, or we gonna say, you know what? man, I'm gonna just put this brother. I'm gonna just stream this stuff. I'm gonna just stream MCE music while I go to sleep, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let it play, like whatever. Or hey, I'm gonna share this group's social media page. When my homeboys come over, I'm gonna make sure I play this music so they hear something different. You know, so you know, there's things that we can do, man. It just takes a concerted effort, like.
We're kind of coming towards a close. I want I want to relate a story to those watching, to you and those watching. I was teaching at a school in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and this one morning everybody was in. All of the staff were dragging. If I'm correct, school hadn't started yet, and we were in the orientation phase, preparing for school. Everybody was just dragging, tired, yawning, from the principal, everybody. So the principal, we doing workshop, said, "Listen, why is everybody all tired? What's going on?" So people were raising their hand anyway. I was up listening to the verses with with the Locks and Dipset, and everybody's like, and I was too. Everybody's like, yeah, we was all watching. Everybody all the teachers and the principal and the administrators, and I thought that was hilarious. But I also thought, wow, that's showing you the power of this hip hop, man. It's intergenerational. You know, you got older heads like me and even older, the custodians, the lunchroom ladies, it was amazing. Everybody was up watching the verses, and everybody came to work tired. It was hilarious. But I want to know, do you have any memories of hip hop that involve hip hop in some way that were really funny or very interesting that you want to share?
Man, yeah, it's like he's got songs just associated with different stages of my life, man. I was telling Sid today we was talking, man, and yeah, so I wouldn't say it was funny, but man, I was like 11 years old when Edutainment came out. And
Mm.
I remember I had this on cassette tape. I don't know how it got in the house. I just know it ended up in the room. And me and my brother were listening to it, man. I used to listen to this tape over and over and over and over. There was a song uh, on there. I mean, the whole project was dope, man. But there was a song on there that really stood out called "Beef," and I used to listen to that song, man. Like, dang, like it was, he was just telling a story. I was just captivated by this, man. Anyway, fast forward, you know, this is about 2000 and I would say about 6 or 7, man. 2006, 2007, 2008, and I was talking to this lady, man. She told me she had went vegetarian, and at this time I had stopped eating pork like 2005. So I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't eat pork. I'm like yada yada yada. So she told me about she was a vegetarian, and I was like, you know what? I'm a I'm a I'm gonna try this. And so I said, I'm gonna do this. But I'm like, man, I don't really know how to get into this. And something led me. I said, you know what? Let me go. Let me go back. It led me back to this song. I was researching some information and end up finding he mentioned the book in the song "How to Eat to Live," and I ended up finding this book online, man, and read the book for free. But without that song, like I wouldn't even have the reference point, man. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So like hip hop has helped to transform my life. You know what I'm saying? Like had not KRS-One dropped this in the song, I wouldn't have had the reference at 11 years old to draw from later on in life, man. So that's something that stuck with me and stood out, man, in my life.
Hey, brother Obafemi, that's a powerful testimony, man. That this musical genre created by teenagers, we got to remember, these are young people who were poor, surrounded by violence, involved with violence, if we can keep it honest. create this genre that has so moved the world that in some respects has politicized and radicalized people like us. You know, I remember coming up and listening to "Wake Up" by Brand Nubian, man, and drugs in our community. That ain't right. Can't even get a job. That ain't right. Poison our babies. That ain't right. And lying who is God. That ain't right. Yeah, yeah. It's something about the hip hop that no other well, maybe some funk. I like the funk too. But it's something about the hip hop, man, that could really. Hip hop has got me through some tough times in my life. When I was mad and I wanted to really do something that is not righteous, I play some hip hop to get my mind right, cool me down, or get ready to play a football game in high school and I'm playing hip hop on the bus, getting ready for the game and getting amped up. But it just seemed like there was always a song that could be part of a soundtrack of my life, so to speak. Would you say it's kind of like that with you?
Definitely, man. That's why I say it's different stages, different events in my life. Like I got a song, like I remember when this happened. I was listening to, I've been collecting music like since I was 7, man, and so I like I said, I got all kind of memories that's associated with different songs, different albums. We were just talking. We were just talking today. People was talking about Eminem being the greatest of all time, and I'm like, yeah, no, and he ain't even in my equation as far as the greatest of all time. Like, but that's a whole nother story, man. But yeah, I got a lot of memories, a lot of my life. Hip hop has been the soundtrack to my life, man. Growing up and being able to share hip hop with my children, like they be like, oh, such and such go hard, and they hearing songs that sampling stuff from the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s. I'm like, yo, but did you know this stuff was sampled from the 50s and 60s and 70s? Like, so it's helping me bridge gaps. Like I get to introduce James Brown and Earth, Wind and Fire and Marvin Gaye to my children through hip hop.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's transformative.
Yes, sir. We're coming to the close. I'm appealing to the community watching. If you have any questions or comments, post them now. Brother Obafemi, if there's anything you want to say that I did not ask, that you want to make sure people know, then now's the time, my brother. This could include where to find your music, how to support you or follow you, whatever.
Yeah, man. So definitely, bro. Thank you once again, man, for bringing me on, brother, to speak with the people, man, and chop it up, man. So you can find Obafemi on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube at 9Obafemi, Obafemi. And you can find MCE's music, MCE Soul Music, SOL, like the Spanish word for son. MCE Soul Music, MUZIK. That's on YouTube, that's Instagram, that's Facebook. And again, our music is on all streaming platforms, Apple Music, iTunes, you name it, Deezer, whatever platform you listen to music on, you'll find MCE, Spotify, all of that. So we also Community Garden, GSC Community Gardens. Check out the YouTube channel, man. We're about to release some of our educational videos, man, and teaching the people in the community, man, how to grow, how to be more self-sufficient as it relates to agriculture and taking care of your health. So yeah, we about to release some videos, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. But yeah. Appreciate you, brother.
Man. I got the information scrolling on the bottom for those who are interested. I heard you drop the joint. I think it's just you. I think it's called I Got It.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I like that joint right there.
Yeah,
I was bumping that today. I like that. That's what's
yeah.
up, man. We gotta find a way. We get this this little glitch worked out with the technology. Man, I would love to set up a thing where we could have like a virtual concert or something, and we could have people put your cash app up and have people constantly hitting y'all up. You know what I'm saying? And people in other parts of the country or the world be able to experience your music. I think that would be hot.
Yeah, man. We like, hey, we'll build on that, man, and we'll
Yeah.
set it up. We got the, we do our own videos and all of that stuff, so we got the equipment to definitely set it up, man.
All right. Listen, family, you had the privilege of listening to one of our wordsmiths, one of our new African philosophers. Just because he's not in some philosophy book doesn't mean he's not a new African philosopher. If they're kicking messages that appeal you to your ear and to your mentality, and they're helping you to feel good, eat better, change the way you're thinking and moving, that's philosophy. So we thank you, Brother Obafemi. We thank MCE. And we will be in touch, my brother. We're gonna work on that kind of a mini concert or something. Like they have the tiny, what is it called, tiny desk
Yeah.
kind of thing. We can do Harlem Racing School. We can do a tiny desk and have different artists. That'd be hot.
No doubt.
No
doubt.
But man, listen, we want to thank you for your time and energy, brother, and for your thoughts and insight. It's been a very stimulating and interesting broadcast. Thank you, family. This is in honor of Hip Hop 50. We're supporting our own genre. We're not waiting for the white man to give it a pat on the back or some Negro to give it a pat on the back. We're coming right to the people, who make the music and who love the music. Thank y'all for watching. Please tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m., family. We got Brother Amun Takala Imhotep from the mighty Anubis Militia in Houston. We got my brother Babu X Omawale and from the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. And we got my brother Ashanti First, the proprietor of Fitness Fuel and Fire, which teaches people how to get their registered guns and get certified to carry guns. They're going to be on tomorrow talking about the protection of the black community. 3 p.m. live here at Harlem Liberation School is going to be a powerful broadcast, family. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Family, thank you for watching. Peace and black power. You know the 3 words I'm going to say, no matter what's going on in the community. No matter the ugliness within or without our community, the white man, the enemy, his weapons, guess what? It's been prophesied. We will win, no matter what they do. Thank you, family. Peace and black power. Black power, brother Obafemi.
Black power.